Hey y'all, welcome to Most of It, where I talk about most things that I find interesting. Today, we'll be covering Sanguinius, Primarch of the Blood Angels Legion. So without further ado, let's get into this. The young Primarch began life landing on the radiation-blasted moon of Bal Secundus, and was found and adopted by a people known as the Blood. Sanguinius grew quickly as Primarchs do, surpassing all other adults both physically and mentally. Soon he began conquering great beasts such as the Balite Fire Scorpion. He was unique among all the Primarchs, possessing a set of great white wings on his back, with this being unclear whether it was intended by the Emperor's design, or if the moon's radiation had mutated him to a degree. Sanguinius, along with his power of flight, also possessed some psychic abilities, receiving visions of the future. The Primarch soon became a leader among his people, leading them into battle against rival tribes on Baal. Despite his calm, regal nature, Sanguinius was a storm of wrath and bloodshed in battle. Soon, his people conquered the whole moon and began to worship him as a god. Eventually, the Emperor arrived upon Baal, seeking his son and disguising himself among the people. However, similar to Conrad Kurz, Sanguinius had seen his father's arrival in a vision and recognized him. Upon talking to him, Sanguinius made his father swear to leave the people of Baal in peace, and unlike the other Primarchs, asked his father what he would do if Sanguinius refused his offer. The Emperor stated that he knew he would not, as he desired to save the people across the galaxy, as he had done on Baal. With the Emperor agreeing to leave Baal in peace, Sanguinius took him up on his offer, and returned to Terra with him, along with his best Baalite warriors. Sanguinius would spend 3 years with Horus and his legion, learning the ways of the Imperium before meeting his own sons, growing a great friendship with many Luna wolves. Upon meeting his sons, who were little more than superhuman savages, all were shocked when Sanguinius spoke with and learned all the names of his sons and swore an oath to them all, that he would stand with them come damnation or glory. He declared the Ninth Legion to be broken no longer, with all this rousing the hearts of his sons, who immediately swore an oath of loyalty to their father. Throughout the Great Crusade, Sanguinius became one of, if not the only Primarch to be respected by all his brothers, and formed an especially strong friendship with his brother Horus. When Horus was declared War Master, he stated that he believed Sanguinius should have been picked in his stead. Sanguinius was beloved by all the Imperium, so when he discovered a genetic flaw within his sons which caused their bloodlust to skyrocket and become mindless berserkers called the Red Thirst, he hid it from most and took the load of executing his damaged sons upon himself. When Horus turned traitor, but had yet to reveal himself, he sent Sanguinius to Cygnus Prime, where they would be ambushed by a horde of demons, becoming stranded upon the planet. Horus knew that there was a chance, albeit very slim, that if his brother turned to Chaos, he would garner more favor from all the Chaos gods, and would stand to rival Horus as Chaos's champion. So he sought to remove him from the equation as quickly as possible. Sanguinius was attacked by a greater demon of Khorne named Kabanda, who managed to break the Primarch's legs and rendered him comatose. This caused the red thirst to spike within his sons, who began killing friend and foe in their fury. A few librarians were able to heal their father, who, in a second duel with the demon, was able to banish him back into the warp. He then led his sons to a chaos fortress on Cygnus, where he was confronted by a greater demon of Slanesh, who offered him a choice. He could sacrifice himself and have the red thirst lifted from his sons forever, or he could allow his sons to slowly decay and destroy themselves. Sanguinius was about to sacrifice himself when one of his apothecaries gave himself up in his father's stead and became a demon known as the Red Angel. The Primarch, now mourning his son, slew the Slaneshi demon and swore vengeance upon Horus. Upon leaving Cygnus, he sought to return to Terra, but due to a massive warp storm known as the Ruin Storm, they instead went to the worlds of Ultramar, meeting with his brothers Rabute Gilman and Lionel Johnson. With all three fearing Terra's fall and the Emperor's death, they decided to form Imperium Secundus, naming Sanguinius Emperor Regent until they could ascertain their father's status. Sanguinius soon began to be plagued by visions of his own death at the hands of Horus, and began to believe that these were no omens, but actual glimpses into the future. Eventually, Sanguinius was confronted by his brother Conrad Kurz, who had snuck into his throne room and tried to convince the angel that his visions disproved the Emperor's teachings. Sanguinius tried to make his brother see it the future could be changed, which resulted in Kurz declaring that in the end there will only be chaos, and detonating charges he had placed around the room and escaping. Sanguinius attempted to be a mediator between Rabute and the Lion, who soon brought Kurz before his brother to be judged. Kurz stated that they could not kill him, for he had seen his own death, which was at the hands of an assassin sent by the Emperor. The three other Primarchs then realized that a dead Emperor could not send an assassin, and took this as a sign that Terra still stood, deciding to return to it. Meanwhile, the visions he had been receiving were making Sanguinius suffer the beatings of the Black Rage, which affected him so badly he almost killed one of his own sons aboard his ship, the Red Tear. Throughout their voyage back to Terra, Sanguinius became desperate to spare his sons of their genetic curse, and began acting more erratic, with him eventually breaking curse from aboard the Lion's ship, bringing him down to the surface of the planet Davin, the place where Horus had fallen. Sanguinius was sucked into a warp portal, and was met with the beautiful gardens of the Imperial Palace, this being the first vision he had received that was not of his own death. He saw his traitorous brother Lorgar dead at his hands, and the remainder of the traitor primarchs brought before the Emperor in chains. The Emperor congratulated him and named his son the Emperor's regent. Sanguinius desired to embrace this reality, but noticed odd mannerisms in his father and cut him down, revealing him to be the demon Medile in disguise. Engaging the demon in combat, Sanguinius was pinned down by a horde and was told that he would serve or die, and was urged to slay Horus and take his place as the champion of chaos, and that if he did so, his sons would be spared the Black Rage. Despite the temptation he felt, Sanguinius broke free and struck the demon, making his way to the portal out. But as he did so, Medal grabbed onto him and held him halfway between the warp and the materium, stating that someone must be sacrificed. It was at this time that one of his sons took his place, tackling the demon and freeing the Primarch from his grasp. Sanguinius looked back and saw his son now transformed into a golden angelic form. As the Primarchs escaped Davin, they saw its destruction had left Terra in the ruin storm, which would allow them to travel to Terra. However, Horus had foreseen this and deployed blockades there. The three Primarchs agreed that the Dark Angels and Ultramarines would distract the traitor forces while Sanguinius made his way to Terra along with Kurz, that he may face justice at the Emperor's hands. However, as they got underway, Sanguinius revealed that just as he must face his destiny on Terra, so must Kurz face his, and with that, he locked him in a stasis coffin and jettisoned him into space. Upon reaching Terra, Sanguinius met with his brothers Rogel Dorn, Leman Russ, Jagatai Khan, and his father's friend Malkador the Sigillite. Sanguinius urged Russ to stay on Terra to help with the coming siege, but his brother's plans would not be changed. Sanguinius would lead loyalist forces across the solar system to clear out the traitor forces, and would return to Terra soon after. During the siege of Terra, Sanguinius was forbidden to leave the palace walls, an order he would often violate, once to save Jagatai Khan from the Death Guard, and another time to banish the demon Kabanda back to the warp. The demon Primarch Angron would confront Sanguinius, the battle ending with Sanguinius being impaled on the end of the demon's blade, and using the opportunity to rip the butcher's nails out of his brother's head, causing it to explode and banishing him back into the warp. A few hours later, a wounded Sanguinius would be summoned to the Golden Throne by the Emperor, who informed him that Horus had lowered his ship's shield, and that he intended to teleport aboard and challenge his traitorous son. The Emperor informed Sanguinius that he would not be coming along, and that command of the loyalist forces would pass to him. Sanguinius refused this order, but his father remained unmoved, until Sanguinius told him of his death visions, and that he sought to defy this fate by challenging it head-on. This convinced the Emperor to allow his son to come with him. Upon teleportation, Sanguinius and a group of his sons were separated from the rest of their party, and was guided by the soul of his deceased brother Ferrus Manus to the War Master's court. Upon reaching Lupercal's court, he is greeted by Horus himself, who offered his brother a place at his side that they may overthrow their father together, and was genuinely disappointed when his offer was refused. The heavily injured Sanguinius attacked Horus with all his might, seeking to kill him. However, Horus fought defensively, hoping to wear down his brother into accepting his offer, receiving several wounds in the process. When Horus detected that the Emperor would soon arrive, he begrudgingly accepted that he would have to kill his brother. Unleashing his full power, he reached into the 8th dimension, grabbing his brother and slamming him into the ground mid-flight, bashing him with his mace Worldbreaker and impaling him with his talons, letting out a disappointed sigh as Sanguinius died and was strung up by demons. It is believed that Sanguinius made a crack in Horus that allowed the Emperor to deliver the fatal blow, and thus did not die in vain. As Sanguinius died, a psychic scream was unleashed, causing many of his sons to fall to the Black Rage, and forever left an imprint on all of them, leaving all vulnerable to their genetic flaw. Sanguinius' body was found by the Emperor and was delivered back to Terra, where a funeral would be held, with his remains being delivered back to Baal, where he would be entombed, and there he remains to this day. Well, that's where the story stands for now. Sanguinius' story is similar to Conrad Kurz's, suffering many of the same struggles. However, Sanguinius fought to prove fate was changeable, and in some ways succeeded. His story is, I'd say, the most tragic of all the Primarchs, with him being a genuinely good person, and yet he had one of the heaviest burdens throughout the heresy. He is also similar to Angron, suffering a deep-seated rage that he fought all his life, with it even being heavily hinted at that Khorne wanted the Blood Angels Primarch and Legion, but settled for the World Eaters. If you want to learn more about Sanguinius and his Legion, I'd recommend reading the books Ruinstorm, Echoes of Eternity, and Fear to Tread. Well, that's all I've got for today, y'all. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below what topics you'd like to see me cover next, whether Warhammer related or otherwise. With all that said, I'll see y'all later.